Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. So we continue to be in the sideways range as the price movement here at the moment is a little bit boring. We are going to take a look at the long-term Ethereum chart as well in this video, together with some all-time high targets. We're also going to take a look at some indicators and why they are at the moment quite relevant. And yeah, but maybe let's start, let's start at the long-term chart, which is obviously here the Ethereum long-term chart. And at the moment we hear a lot again, and I see it in the comments, and I've just read it this morning and just waking up, and I had a question in the comments, is it really that Bitcoin is going to die, or how realistic do you really think that Bitcoin or Ethereum is going to die? Because that's, you hear it everywhere now. And I've been in the crypto space now since 2016, 17, and it is, as far as I remember, it is sort of a similar sentiment at the moment that we had sort of in this time period here around 2018, 2019. Now, this can of course mean that it still can take quite a while until all of this bear market is over. But it also means that we should be quite close to the low. Of course, this can still mean that we are going to drop to maybe $600, but you need to see all of this in perspective. Look at the entire chart here, and if we drop another 50% from where we now, what does it mean really overall? Look at this. It in the context, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really mean much. Of course, if you buy now and you lose 50%, yeah. But also, what you always need to remember, especially if you take the long-term view into account, this is just take it into perspective, yeah, because we're talking here about all-time high targets, and I talked about it before. Even if let's even say we make another low, yeah, and that is not my primary expectation, I have to say that as well, but it's possible, so we can't rule it out. But let's say we go from there to around, let's even say 10,000. That's a 1,700% profit. How long that takes, I don't know, but it would be in the next all-time high. That's very clearly the target for the next all-time high, for the next bull run. So it could take a year, yeah, it could take 2 years, it could even maybe take 3 years. And unfortunately, the whole issue that's currently taking place in the crypto space with FTX and other exchanges, that obviously doesn't give a lot of confidence into crypto exchanges. A lot of people are becoming careful, institutions are becoming careful. On the other hand, you have a lot of opportunity seekers, but I think it will take a while until we get a lot of new people into the space, and that is because of all these issues, as you see it in the media again, how dangerous everything is, and so on. So just, but be aware of that. I think it's sort of a similar sentiment towards where we were already sort of close to the bottom of the bear market, of the last larger bear market, right? In terms of the overall wave count here for Ethereum, just wanted to let you know as well how I see that. I did that a few times before, but I think it is always quite useful. So we start this with the first larger 1-2 setup. So Elliott Wave, trend up, wave 1. And then we look at the low, which was here the wave 2, back in, I think it was December 2018. We are now, based on this, in a wave 3. There will be a wave 4 and a wave 5. This wave, let me just change the wave degree, to be honest. I need to do that first. Let's make that a bit clearer here. Yeah, let's leave it like that. And this is sort of here the larger trend, right? And based on this wave count, we have only seen waves 1 and 2 so far, and we are actually in a larger wave 3. Looking at the context, this totally makes sense, because you've got here 1-2 setup. Looks from a let's say how long this took really to play out, sort of a similar time frame, yeah. And target, just roughly, yeah, because it doesn't really matter here the dollar, exact to the dollar. But if we look at target, no, 1 second, I made a mistake here. Yeah, because let me just finish this. Let's do the other waves first, right? And then we're looking at within this wave 3, of course, we're looking at a 5-wave pattern as well. And this is where obviously it started here at the low in 2018 and moved up. We moved up in a wave 1. an impulse that was here May 21, and we come down currently still, or maybe already completed, that's actually my expectation, here a wave 2 in June 22, and next we are going to move up in a wave 3. There will be a wave 4 and a wave 5 to finish off the wave 3, the higher level wave 3. And I'll do, to make that clear, I'll do that another color, change the wave degree. Let's do like that. Yeah, just to highlight here the differences, really to make it clear and obvious. So this is how I see it. And this wave 1, you know, some people might ask, why is the wave 1 not this high? And I can't see that really. I can't see that because if I make that larger, if I really count, and I would have to go into detail and everything, it would be a very long video, but to count the subwaves here, I get 5 waves if I count it like that. And 3, 4, 5. So I have a 5-wave move here to the upside. Another color again, another wave degree. But that fits quite well. 5 waves up here to finish off that wave 1. And then we are now in this wave 2. Well, or at least it's already complete. That's not entirely clear. And then we had here an overshooting wave B. That was sort of in November, I think that was. December 21, overshooting wave B. And we're coming down in wave C here, which basically finished actually in June 22. That's at least my expectation at the moment. And based on the assumption here, it would be that we are now in this 3rd wave to the upside. If we are not in this 3rd wave yet, it should start after one more low. That is how I see this. And if we go up now directly, or there will be one more low, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really make a great difference. So let's take a look at the wave 1 up, wave 2 down. Target 1.618 extension is sort of the minimum, around $8,200, maybe all the way up to 200% extension, which is the 10,000 US dollar level. So this is how I see Ethereum long term. Obviously at the moment, in the short term, we are exactly here in this region. So before that, let me just save that. And then let's go into the short term. So what we are going to look at first now is this pattern here, this structure that started off the June low. I have to zoom out for that bit. But yeah, this is here off the June low. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. Off the June low, my interpretation is that we have moved up in a so-called wave 1. And we're moving down now in a wave 2. Again, that could be complete. And that is basically this possible 1-2 setup here. It's not high confidence because this is not a very, very clear breakout pattern yet. I mean, this here, wave 1, wave 2 down, that's fine. That makes sense. We're holding key support at $1,000. That's all fine. But if we now go into the really lower level detail, this is where it gets a bit choppy, gets a bit nasty, gets a bit ugly. Yeah, so if I, whoops, didn't want to do that. If I zoom in, take a look here at this short-term price action and say from the low of the 9th of November. So basically if we say we've got this 1-2 setup complete, yeah, we're now starting a wave 3 to the upside, basically the impulse that we want to see. Then we would have to interpret it in a way that we say we had a wave 1 up here to around 1360, and we're now coming down in a wave 2. Based on that, I would ideally want to see another low, one more here, to go below this low. And there's various ways of how this, you know, in the short term can be counted. Don't really want to confuse you, don't really want to bore you. But the point is, at the moment, I think in the short term, a very relevant level is this swing high here at 1226. This needs to be broken, and that could give us a strong indication that this 1-2 setup is finished and that we're ready to move up in a wave 3. Important resistance though on this way, I showed you already that 1226 level here, but even higher, very important to get above that resistance level anyway, which is the 1290 level, getting above that. And then we could move up in a wave 3 to the upside and whatever, $1,600, $1,700 possible. Is it high confidence? Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but it is a support area here. So it's a 1-2 setup. It's one of the best trade setups you can get in Elliott Wave, but I have to say it's not too much confidence because this is not a very nice 5-wave move up. Had it been a nice 5-wave impulse, would have been nice, but we have a so-called truncated, a short wave 5 that takes away some of the confidence. So yeah, at the moment, the idea is that as long as we're holding this yellow support box, which goes down to 1130, we are focusing on higher. But it would also not surprise me, not in the current situation, if we make another low. So we can make one more low and still hold the $1,000 level, and the higher level scenario of a breakout is not really at risk. Only below $1,000, I think we are going to put in one more larger lower low, even below the June low. So this is really the key threshold, really. Yeah. But yeah, overall, you know, in the short term, otherwise nothing really changed from my last video. The question here in the very short term for anybody who's following this is still, is this a 1-2 setup? And this is the next smaller degree 1-2 setup, and we move up from here. That's still possible as long as we're holding above the swing low of 1174, or is all of this a 1-2 setup and we move up then? But that really doesn't matter too much now for the further process and progress. It's just key that we're holding the 1130 level, and if we lose that, okay, then we still have some buffer. 1075 needs to hold, and if that doesn't hold the $1,000 level, and let's say Bitcoin puts a new low in and Ethereum holds the $1,000 level, then it again would have been proof that Ethereum can make higher lows while Bitcoin is making lower lows, right? So it just shows the strength of Ethereum. And then to finish off the video, I wanted to show you the indicators, especially on the long-term chart. Maybe let's do it on this chart. So we take a look at the RSI, the relative strength index, the MACD, and especially here on the 1-week chart. No, 1 second, let's go to maybe the 2-week chart. Actually, I think it's quite relevant. Yeah, the 2-week chart is relevant because this is even more long term, and it just shows you that, if I put the price into relation here, that that's what I mean also with the sentiment. If you look at this 1-2 setup that we had here, 2017, 2018, we then bottomed out here at some point already before we made the low on the MACD. If you look at this MACD, you can see the MACD histogram basically bottomed when we were just still on the way down, and then it started to recover as we made the low, put the low in place, and since then we've been going up, and actually, yeah, at some point the histogram really got bigger and bigger, right? So now we are in a similar situation where it looks like we could have at least bottomed, yeah, for various, well, since June actually, we are reducing the negative momentum here on the 2-week chart on the MACD. Similar situation to what we had back in 2018, yeah, and you see what the price did afterwards. Yes, it took some time, but that's what it did. And also, take a look, and the RSI has also made a bullish crossover. Nothing too convincing, but I think, you know, the MACD is something that I find really interesting. On the daily chart, let's also take a look here. Daily chart is also reducing negative momentum at the moment on the MACD, while the RSI is still sort of in the bearish territory, but the MACD is still reducing negative momentum. It did that here as well towards the end of September, and after that we had quite a bit of a rally to around $1,700. So, you know, again, it would not surprise me to put another low in place, but it's not my primary expectation. But even in the very short term, even if in the short term we come down to $1,000, it would not really break my primary scenario in which Ethereum doesn't make a lower low than June, and it has a good chance to hold that low. So I don't at the moment expect a new low. Of course, it can happen in the current environment. It wouldn't be too surprising. Your probabilities are quite close together here, especially after the 9th of November drop. But still, need to leave options open. Yeah. But take a look, you know, consider this all in context. I mean, sometimes, I mean, understand, I am looking at this really short term as well, because there's, you know, there's day traders, there's people who just want to be kept up to date, and hope you understand that these sort of lower level wave counts, they are fragile, they change often. A lot of you understand that, because on the lower, you know, on the lower time frames, things just change much more frequently. But on the higher time frames, things aren't really changing that often. and the wave counts are quite stable and targets are quite reliable as well. But on the short term, of course, you have a lot of distortion. You have, you know, it's just more fragile, really. So consider everything in context. And yeah, I mean, hopefully I could in this video also talk a little bit to the hodlers, the long-term investors as well. And I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.